Yo, what you lot say, it's your boy here. Today what I've got for you, it is the Indianapolis 500 review. This is it, the big one, the main one that all the drivers are looking to win, the Indianapolis 500. To make things even more special, this was the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, so this meant for a very special feel, a more competitive feel as well, as they're all trying to become the 100th winner of the Indianapolis 500. So right off the bat, I won't go into too much detail about qualifying because I really want to save that for the race and I won't make this video too long. But into qualifying, we had a couple of drivers that went off the circuit. Pipperman, she came out at 10-3, lost the rear end, hit the wall, that was it for her, unlucky. Max Chilton, he hit the wall at the same place as well.
Wobble going in there makes you wonder whether or not she felt something in the car, so she gets down just going below that white line, maybe a bit too soon. But I'm going to suspect that car might have been a little bit loose anyways, Eddie, and got some scrapes coming up from the underneath. So
that shattered the car into bits, but thankfully both drivers were actually able to get their car fixed and ready for the race. So yeah, that was great to see. After 2 days of qualifying, because they have 2 days to actually qualify, you have one to get into the top 9 and the second to get pole position. On the second day, it was James Hinchcliffe that took pole position on the last lap. He put a great lap time, which on average put him onto pole position, because you get 3 laps and out of the 3 will be your average. And yeah, Hinchcliffe did 3 amazing worldy laps that were good enough for pole position. So great job by James Hinchcliffe. Schmidt Peterson Motorsports, they've done a really good job all season long. The car's been really strong throughout the whole season, so yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And also, another thing to point out, 1 year ago, James Hinchcliffe crashed and almost died around that same time period. And a year later, or actually I would say a couple of days later, he'd actually take a pole position. He's gone to take pole position at the Indy 500. That is crazy. That is epic from James Hinchcliffe. Well done. Very mighty job from James Hinchcliffe, especially from where he's come from last year. Definitely a astonishing achievement. At the start of the Indianapolis 500, the top 3 were James Hinchcliffe, Ryan HunterReay, and Joseph Newgarden. They all got away nice and cleanly. Everyone trying to move left and right, trying to find some space to make a couple of passes on the early stage of the races. But really, the early stages were just them, just setting feel, not racing the guys too hard, to be honest. Although there were a couple of that were trying to get up the field to get ready for that last 15 laps, which is really it was really the case with every Indy 500. It's just always about them just trying to save fuel so that they have 20 or 10 laps to burn it out and just go for it in the last like 10 laps. So that was what we were watching pretty much at the start of the race. These guys were just hanging back, not doing anything stupid, just hanging back and just running their own race, to be honest. We did have a couple of lead changes, but that was just only for both of them to save fuel and really trying to get away from the field in terms of Ryan HunterReay and James Hinchcliffe here. Then about lap 30, lap 40, caution comes out, that's for debris. Then we get another, and that's a big one, that is for Juan Pablo Montoya. He comes out at 2, loses the rear end. Apparently the team during their first pit stop decided to put a bit more wing on the front wings so that he would be able to get through the corners nice and easily. Because I believe he was complaining quite a lot with the downforce of the car, so they made an adjustment to that. As he was coming into turn 2, he lost the rear end, spun, hit the wall very hard, and that would be it for Juan Pablo Montoya. Unfortunate, to be honest, because he'd been running a pretty good race. He was in the mid-pack. I was thinking, okay, he's running in the mid-pack. I'm thinking he's probably gonna, with about 50 or so laps to go, really push, get to the front of the field, and we could maybe see Juan Pablo maybe even try and take the victory from Ryan HunterReay and James Hinchcliffe, who were leading at the time.
It just snapped on him, just right in the middle. He didn't stand a chance.
Exit. Yeah,
Then afterwards we had a caution come out. I think it was like lap 100, something like that. I think it might have been for debris again. But as that was happening, the conditions started to change, and we were there was a lot of threats going on that it was going to rain at some point during the race. And yeah, the dark clouds came, but thankfully we did not get any rain, and it started to brighten up later on during the race, which was awesome. Personally, for me, I don't like, especially on oval races, a race getting affected by rain. To be honest, it's good in like road course races or street races because it adds to a very, very thrilling race. But when it goes on oval, for safety reasons, they can't drive. In IndyCar, they can't drive around. Well, pretty much in all ovals, NASCAR, that kind of stuff. They can't drive in the wet in ovals because of the safety conditions. So, you know, it would have been a massive shame if actually rain did drop and we would get a race red flagged and delay, because I wanted to see a really, really good race, a really clean green flag run all the way to the finish. So yeah. By like lap 30, lap 130, 140, Takuma Sato, I think he has a brush with the wall in turn 4. That breaks his steering arm, and as a result he is out of the race. Unfortunately for Takuma Sato, he was actually winning pretty good, to be honest. He was up there in like 5th, 6th, and I was thinking, boy, I think he might have a shot of winning the Indy 500. I just had something for Takuma Sato when he was up in the top 10, to be honest, because, you know, he looked quick. He had almost won it in 2012, so I'm thinking, is this him finally going to win the Indy 500? But I mean, it would have been massive if Takuma won in Indy 500. I mean, that would be mad. But unfortunately, his day came to an end as he hit the wall in turn 4, I believe it was. And yeah, that broke the steering arm. That was it for him. He was out of the race.
Sato, who we're riding on board with right now, following behind his teammate.
Then lap 40, 140, 150, issues for Elio Castroneves. His rear wing starts to flap off the car. Thankfully it didn't fly off and hit anyone else. That would have been a massive disaster if that actually happened, to be honest. But thankfully a caution does come moments after, and yeah, Elio managed to get that sorted out. Basically, the rear wing, there's like 2 little holes, like 2 little things, bumper things on the side of it. Yeah, one of it was falling off the car, and man, oh man, I mean, that was very, very lucky the caution came out moments after, because if it didn't, it would have flown off and it would have hit the guy behind, who I think at the time was Carlos Munoz, which would have been massively disastrous. So yeah, that was very, very lucky there.
End up getting a yellow.
That's a really dangerous thing to have hanging off like that.
Oh, I'm sure that the...
Then on the last pit stop, a lot of the drivers come into the pits, and as they're coming out, Townsend Bell and Ryan HunterReay. Townsend, who ran a really good race, Townsend, who is a one-off wild card, you would say, for this weekend, collide with Ryan HunterReay. That sends both of them into the wall, sort of like a Danica Patrick in 2009, I believe it was, yeah, where Ryan Briscoe and Danica got together and that sent Danica spinning into the wall.
Oh, right there. Man. That's heavy. Oh, yeah, heavy contact. She did all the way around. Through her left 360.
It was kind of like that, but this time both drivers hit the wall, and that broke Ryan HunterReay's front wing, and both would go a lap down afterwards. So not a very good day. They were actually leading now. They were actually at the sharp end, actually leading the thing. So man, that must be so painful, particularly Ryan, because he was looking for his second Indianapolis 500 win. He won already in 2014, but to get to would be an awesome achievement for Ryan HunterReay, but sadly that would not be the case, and yeah, very disappointing, especially for Ryan HunterReay, of course. Then, with about 40 or 30 laps to go, there was a bit of an issue that went on, and that was fuel. A lot of people were not able to get to the end of the race. A lot of the drivers were about 6 to like 3 laps shy of fuel, so they had to all coast really, really slowly. And in fact, in the last like 6 laps, a lot of the drivers took precautionary steps to make a pit stop with about 6 laps to go in the race. But Alexander Rossi didn't, and I was thinking, hold on. I mean, this was a very, very ballsy move, to be honest, because personally, he was about 2 laps shy of field. He was 2 laps shy of field, and I was thinking, there's no way he's going to actually do it. He's going to run out of fuel at some point. It's going to probably be on the last lap, to be honest. It would have been massively disastrous if it was the last lap, to be honest. But yeah, he was saving, he was coasting it like crazy. Everyone was in the pits. Everyone did that precautionary thing as well. And yeah, leading that pack of the precautionary guys was Carlos Munoz, actually. And yeah, he was about 20 seconds behind Rossi. Rossi was just coasting like crazy. He was literally coasting so much. It was unbelievable. And yeah, going into the last lap, he was like really, really slow at turn 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, and then onto the pit straight. Would you believe it? Alexander Rossi comes through to take the Indianapolis 500 victory. Oh my god, a Formula 1 star takes the Indianapolis 500. Are you kidding me? That is insane. That's like Nico Hülkenberg going off and winning the Le Mans 24 Hours last year. That was insane. It was out of the blue. It was crazy. It was a ballsy call from the guys at Andretti. But to see it pay off and to see Alexander Rossi come through and take the victory is massive. I never knew Rossi was actually going to take that victory, to be honest. I thought it was just going to be one of the IndyCar regulars, to be honest, but that was insane. That was truly, truly insane. Kudos to the Andretti team and kudos to the team, the crew behind Rossi, because that was absolutely ballsy. They could have fucked up and his race had been over, to be honest. They could have literally fucked it up by him staying out and then him running out of fuel. So that is insane. And actually, what was more insane was that he actually ran out of fuel on the slowdown lap. So that was how that was how tight he was on fuel. That was insane, really insane.
I'm just going with the gut.
Commiserations for Carlos Munoz. I mean, he drove a really good race. He was very, very lucky to get to second place at the final remaining laps, but unfortunately, Alexander Rossi with that ballsy strategy call made it work and won the Indianapolis 500. Carlos was quite upset, to be honest, finishing second. Of course, you know, it's Indy, it's the Indianapolis 500. When you don't win the Indianapolis 500, it really gets to you. But at the end of the day, Carlos has got a bright future ahead of him. He's had one win, and that was the duel in Detroit, where we're going to be going next time out. So he's got a really bright future ahead of him, is Carlos Munoz. He's driving with Andretti, which is a solid team, so he's got to keep his chin up, and I think one day he will definitely win the Indianapolis 500. But that is it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then hit that like button below. Comment below what you thought about the Indianapolis 500. Was it awesome? Was it great? Was it insane? Tell us what you thought about Alexander Rossi's bold call to actually win the race. Was it awesome? Was it insane? Let me know down below. Also, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. It's your boy. I am out. Peace.